But let's look at the next season. Colorado 24 football schedule is just you would think it kind of has a little tail off from going from the Pac-12 because it was the most ranked teams in college last year at one time to the Big 12, and the Big 12 they got a bunch of games that they don't have to pack their lunch for. And it starts with North Dakota State. North Dakota State is an FCS team that should have been a D1 school 10 years ago. When I transferred and I played at a smaller school, we played North Dakota State in a playoff game. Them boys know how to play. And remember, that's where Carson Wentz came out of. That's where Trey Lance came out of. And they have a number of NFL football players that come out of the program. They've been dominant for decades. So that's not an easy game. Let me tell you, that is not going to be an easy game. So they're going to have to bring their lunch. And if they flat-footed, especially their first game of the season, trying to fill each other out, they're going to be in a dogfight. So they got to come overly prepared. Then they travel to Nebraska. That is going to be a hostile work environment, all right? Nebraska, rivalry game already. Everybody knows what happened last year. Everything that's coming into it, all of a sudden it's going to be personal again. Then you come back and you got to go on the road again. It's a quicker road game to Colorado State, and you already know all the back and forth that happened. You know, with Travis Hunter getting knocked out with a lacerated liver, to Shador having to fight Colorado State Rams players between plays and dealing with cheap shots. It's just a rivalry game, and everybody's going to remember that, and everybody's going to be watching the game. And Colorado State is going to put, like, a lot of their spring and summer, I guarantee you, are going to have that tape of, we were right there. We could have beat that Colorado team. We want to put it to Coach Prime. So within the first 3 weeks, you're going to have to bring your lunch, all right? North Dakota State, again, is a dominant FCS team. It's not going to be easy pushover. Nebraska rivalry game. Remember what happened last year. Matt Rule has more tape, and they're going to try to get after it. Colorado State, they just don't like you. They want to win, and with those rivalries, the scores, the stats don't matter. The score is going to be close anyway. So it's tough. And then you add on the hottest team in college football at the end of the season was the Arizona Wildcats, all right? And you got to go to Arizona. My goodness. I mean, it's a really tough stretch. The first 4 games are a really tough stretch. Then you go, Utah comes to Colorado. So you really don't have a home game. So you go from August to 1, 2, 3. You go 3 weeks being on the road. And then you got Utah at home. Again, Utah's going to be a decent program. They're always ranked. Cam Rising's 18th year. He's going to be super prepared. So you're going to have to, there's no exotic blitz you're going to come up with Cam Rising when you have those super seniors like that. They're basically NFL players, and they're going to play really well. Then you have Baylor Bears coming in. I think Baylor is going to be, you never know. Baylor, sometimes they have a surprising year, but I know they've been down the last few, and I don't know if they're going to fire the head coach, the former defensive coordinator at LSU. I think his name was Arnada, but we'll see how that goes. I think they should win that game. Oklahoma State. Let me tell you, one thing Mike Gundy loves to do, if you have any national championship aspirations, like Coach Prime has said, hey, the playoffs going to be bigger next year. I want to be in that bracket. If you have national championship aspirations, the person that loves to F that up is Mike Gundy. My gosh, he will throw a wrench in your shit every time. Whether he could beat Oklahoma, he'll mess around and beat Clemson. And they can't be consistent throughout the year to be in the national championship themselves, but they will mess up your hopes. So Oklahoma State's always been athletic. They've always had stability. They always play well. So they're going to be coming into Colorado, but still it's going to be a tough game. Kansas State Wildcats, my gosh. If you want to talk about a year in, year out physical football team that's going to beat your ass, it would be Kansas State. All right. Now, I know their quarterback is in the transfer portal, so it'll be a little bit, different. We'll see how they are at the end of the year, but that's going to be a tough game. Cincinnati Bearcats. Cincinnati almost trying to hire Prime from what I know. But Cincinnati's always been an athletic kind of program. We'll see where they are. They're not dominant as they were 2-3 years ago. Kansas Jayhawks. And let me tell you, Jalen Edwards, if he's back, he's like Cam Ward. You know how Cam Ward did y'all up there in Washington State. He's in that kind of mold. So be careful. You got to go to Kansas. Then you go to Texas Tech. Texas Tech is always a middle-of-the-road program. Sometimes they're better than good, especially when Pat Mahomes and them were there. But they were 6-6 this past season. I think they're about to play in a bowl game. They gave Oregon a run for their money, for sure. For sure. If you remember that game, I think it was week 2 of this prior season. Oregon went to Texas Tech and almost lost, so they play well up there in Lubbock, so don't sleep on them. And then you end the goddamn season against the UCF Knights. Let me tell you, that program is always on the rise, like always on the rise. It's a fantastic place to play. I've seen it up class in person. They're gonna show out. They always have a prepared offense. That coach has a SEC pedigree. He's not afraid of anybody. He's going to play and have his team ready. And UCF would love, especially if they have a good season, would love to send Colorado out with a loss. So this is a tough ass schedule. So don't think it's going to be an easy cakewalk schedule coming into Big 12. It's just as competitive as their schedule last year. That means you're going to have to keep Shador upright. You're going to have to keep your skill players ready to go. What I love about them bringing in the twins is, you have a more competent backup that's more suited for the offense they have. I think the issue with Staub being the backup, the offense wasn't his offense. He wasn't a similar player as Shador. I think the twins that they brought in for the quarterback from Kentucky is more in the Shador mold. So keeping the quarterbacks healthy, keeping the skilled players healthy, and really, really being able to run the football. I can't tell you, you're playing Nebraska, Colorado State, Arizona, Utah, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, Texas Tech, I'll put them in there, and you end at UCF. I can't tell you how imperative you're going to need to run the football in all those games. Kansas State is a physical ass team, all right? You can't just keep going 3 and outs and expecting your defense to hold up, because that's how they got in trouble last year with Oregon State. Oregon State kept running the ball, and when the offense went 3 and out, the defense gets tired, and then all of a sudden those running plays that are 3 yards, 4 yards pop, and then they're going 20, 30, 40 to the house. So you need to take care of your defense. There was a fantastic defense. There's going to be a lot of continuity because Coach Kelly's coming back. They're going to have a better system. They're going to have better players, especially at the edge, better personnel. You're going to have Hall of Fame Coach Sapp. You're going to have a lot of different NFL people and analysts ready to help those kids, but you have to help your defense by running the football and being just as physical. I can't wait for the new season, though. It's going to be a tough schedule, but I know if anybody is going to rise to the occasion, it's going to be the Colorado Buffaloes and Coach Brown. Heritage Sports.